Thank you, Mr. Ngaba, the president of the FTTX. And of course, greetings to the CEO, the CEOs that are here. Um, of course, Salga, and captains of the industry, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be here. Not happy because I'm rubbing shoulders with the important people in the world. Happy because I'm with the people who have decided to take an initiative and saying they too will make their own contribution towards the development of societies. And that's something I really appreciate. Dr. Ngaba mentioned the fact that I am the commander of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which therefore means that my presence here is mainly to look at those factors that will help me build the capable army that I've committed to build in our country. And of course, as we're talking about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the primary thing is to get people and things connected. Which is why, when we received the invite, we said we have to be there. Dr. Ngaba presents the trends from the different eras and the different technologies that will be introduced or that are being introduced currently. And he strategically locates 5G at the center of his presentation. And of course, as a policymaker and the commander of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, it then attracts my attention because, as I said earlier, there can never be a meaningful Fourth Industrial Revolution if our people are not connected. And there can never be a capable army if the people are not involved in that matters, starting with the skills, with the infrastructure that must be rolled out, and the services, which talks to the opportunities that are presented by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Everywhere I go, people hate me. You know, there comes that girl. I don't know why I'm a girl. I'm a proud mother and daughter-in-law. But they still say, there comes that girl. All they know in this country, they are busy with her boss. They're talking about Fourth Industrial Revolution that's taking our jobs. Those that are on Twitter, I'm sure you may have read and seen after the Standard Bank saga. And recently, okay, I can't remember which company also retrenched, and everybody was tagging myself and the boss. You're busy talking Fourth Industrial Revolution, this is what it does to our people. But of course, as responsible and caring leaders, ours is to say, yes, you're only looking at the negative effect, but you're not looking into the fact that there are going to be new jobs that are created. You're not looking into the fact that where we are today is not where we were 20 years back. That today you're able to engage with us on Twitter, you're able to get to stream and get access and feel as if you're part of the conference that you are having right now in the convention center whilst you are not here. Which therefore means that there are people behind all those technologies and the services that are in that. And those are the people that have decided to exploit the opportunity presented by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And therefore, as government, ours is to say, how do we put at the center that we have emphasized of saying, for us as South Africa, to be able to deliver a meaningful and impactful 4IR to our people, there's three crucial things that we've got to center ourselves around. Coordination, collaboration for effective execution. Because the one thing, as I've also checked in the presentations that were made by Mr. Ngaba, one thing about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, it wants us to do away with the silo mentality of thinking that I can do it all. It's about me. He mentioned the different platforms or the services, because others are service-based, others investment-based, infrastructure-based, and platform-based. And that's what the 4IR is about. Recognizing the opportunities, That as much as you can come up with your technology, but if this fiber is not there, or if you do not have reliable connectivity, even those artificial intelligence will not make a meaningful impact, although they are there. Therefore, it therefore says, as people, we have to work together. And working together does not only apply to the industry, but also to government that must create an enabling environment for the industries to thrive so that the communities can benefit meaningfully, I emphasize. So we met, as they said, we met earlier with the CEOs, trying to understand, not that we don't do, but finding ways of concretizing the collaboration between the industry and government. And in the engagements, I made reference to the fact that as government, ours is to create an enabling environment through legislation and regulation. But if we do not understand what's happening out there, then we won't be able to create that enabling environment. And the reason it's important for us to understand what is there is because we don't get to regulate ourselves or develop policies for ourselves as government. We do that in the interest of the country that the majority has given authority over and expressed confidence in. Which is why it's important then to say, well, we are here in power, we're occupying these positions, but what does it mean for us to make sure that we make a difference, to say, just like it happened before 2008, where the sector was able to make a meaningful contribution towards the GDP of the country. And now we all agree that we have dropped, hence we're also seeing the drop in the GDP of the entire country. What is it that we need to do, thereof, as the country in the industry to make sure that we change the current status quo? We all agree that our industry is an enabler to everything that's happening. It doesn't matter if you're unemployed, but I've seen as I crisscross the country, just take a cell phone to my mother who's unemployed, who's illiterate, and in a rural area. Just try to take her cell phone away from her for 4 hours, and she will not survive. And that tells you of the importance of the work that we do here, because she may have a cell phone, but if again the connectivity is not of quality, then there's no point of her having that cell phone. But also what is in her cell phone is that makes her to want to have her cell phone by herself. The fact that she has to pay 75 francs from my village to go to Mthatha, which is the town, to buy electricity. But now because she has her cell phone, she's able to access those services in the village where she is at, without her paying that 75 francs that she has to take from her social grant, and therefore reducing the amount. Just buying airtime of 30 rands or 29 rands or 15 rands, she's able to buy electricity, and therefore saving the cost. And that's the kind of intervention that is the South African government we've taken. To say in the era of the fourth industrial revolution, we've got to put people at the center. And as I said, there will be no meaningful fourth industrial revolution without that matters. The infrastructure that makes all of this to be possible. As Dr. Ngaba makes mention, linking fiber, its importance in the 5G and the fourth industrial revolution. He then makes me to ponder that I've been thinking about, that upsets most people. Apologies that I'm going to offend you now. That as we talk about the 5G, is it really a telecoms issue? Having seen all that he mapped out, that will be enabled by the deployment of the 5G, should we continue giving the few access to that matters that will lead to the future, or we should be opening up, even for those that are innovative, to say, this 5G gives me an opportunity? It's a discussion that we need to have. As we talk about this past and this monopolization of the sectors that drive economy, and trying to massify and say, let there be more inclusivity if we are to really change our economic status. as we all agree, as President Ramaphosa mentioned, that for this economy to grow, there's a need for us to invest in innovation and support startups. If now we support these startups to rely to the terms and conditions, Stella, will they really benefit and play the meaningful role? Or what is it that the policymaker should do to make sure that, although we recognize that we can't all be equal in terms of the pockets, the sizes of our companies, and the access to resources, but how do you make sure that as others rise, they lift others with themselves, so that we don't see lots of gaps in between? I always say one thing about our country and the continent actually is that we come from a very painful past that have managed to cause divisions amongst ourselves. And the future that we brag about, that it's too bright and we're confident of, requires us to bridge that divide. Therefore, digital inclusion is at the center with everything in the ecosystem. Gone are the days whereby Stella is myself, ne? That's my name. Gone are the days where Stella, I'm a wedding planner and events manager. That if I want to provide the service, I must provide videography, photography, everything about myself, because that does not grow our economy. But recognizing that as much as I have the capacity to do that, but if I work with others, it takes me to another level because they come with more knowledge and more resources in the space that I'm involved in. That's an example of what I do. As I said, I do weddings and parties. I like nice things. But as we move from that, how do we make sure that in the business sector, as we want to derive profits, I always say also when I engage with the multinationals, that your company has to be able to relate with South Africans, and therefore at some point get to be part of the culture of South Africa. Not only South Africans being consumers in the services that are brought to themselves, but giving an opportunity to South Africans that will in turn make your company thrive, because in the rollout that you are doing in the infrastructure, if people don't understand what's the importance of having fiber, we have not done anything. You can come deploy great fiber, but they just see people who are digging and putting things, they don't know what value it adds to their daily life. It makes it worse if you are a Xhosa speaking, and then so you try to say, we're going there because we're launching this program, I'm going to Venda, and I come and I speak my Xhosa, and they don't understand anything, although I'm saying I'm communicating. So the importance of trying to understand the culture and the environment that we're operating in is what creates demands for us. Because if we speak in a language that they understand, and when I say language, not only in terms of speaking terms, but in that they do in their own living, to say, now that we've deployed this fiber to your home, these are the things, we have kids that go to school, and now as you can help them, I spoke of my mother who's illiterate, as you can help your grandchildren do homework, but now they have access to Google and other search engines that they can get information. Now my mother is able to understand the importance of this fiber that's deployed home. And therefore it's easy for her from her social grant to say, oh okay, now I'm gonna be paying that 99 rands a month, because she can resonate. So these things for us go together, because I said ours is putting the person at the center. So they therefore force all of us to work together, but importantly so, is the role that we should be playing as government in ensuring that we encourage you to deploy wall to wall. All South Africans should be having access to fiber if we mean business. Just like we're able to say people must get 20 liters or 100 liters of water a day, and government must pay for that, electricity for those that don't afford. We really need to reach that stage. And it therefore means government has to introduce incentives to encourage you to go to those areas that you're shy to go to because they're not making profit sense. And we understand, because deployment of infrastructure is costly. That's why we are saying we've got to work together. Because what you want to achieve and what I want to achieve may be different, but we're servicing the same person. That is a client to yourself or a consumer, and a voter to myself as a shareholder. So we're happy also with the support that we have received from the industry and the commitment that has been made. And we said, we're coming here to say, you stuck with us, people of fiber and everything. I'm how many years now into marriage? 8 years, I think. Sorry there's lots of things. I think I'm 8 years. So I'm a newlywed. You understand, we take it very serious when we say in death. What does that thing mean? Until death do us part. In bed or worse, whatever. That's those things that we say when we get married. So we take it very seriously. We are the newlyweds of the industry. And therefore, it doesn't matter how bad things can go, but ours is to make sure that we reach out to each other so that we can stay in this union. That's how important you are to us. Simply because we're looking at that we want to achieve, of providing meaningful services to our people, and also making sure that we build an industry that is sustainable, because when your industry bleeds, government collapses. That you should understand. At no single stage we get to celebrate when a company closes down, because we know what that means, because it hits hard on government. It is in our interest that you remain profitable and sustainable, and therefore the service that you render should be sustainable to our people, so that we can keep this relationship alive. We had introduced certain interventions because we also undergoing certain challenges, as Mr. Ndabeni mentioned earlier, making reference to the issue of the way leaves that are a problem everywhere. But one of the key things that the president did, you may have read or heard about it, or if you didn't, now you're going to get to know it, the establishment of the Presidential Commission in the Fourth Industrial Revolution that must do the mapping out of our country. Give us the current status quo and tell us where do they think we must go to if you are to be a leader in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Recognizing the capacity that we have and the challenges that we have, but building on those to say this is how we can complement each other in order to take South Africa to another level. As we did that, one of the key work streams in the Commission is the one that deals with infrastructure and resources. It is led by him, Mr. Ndabeni. So if we take any decisions on infrastructure and resources that negatively affect you, blame your president. Because they have an opportunity to advise government. And as we say that, because we realize one thing, as government, we can't do it all, and we can't do it alone. Right now, you've listened to Minister Ndabeni, who's trying to come up with ways of how do we grow the economy in the country. And without leveraging on the 5G that we spoke about, the opportunities that it brings, and the technologies of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, we will not be able to turn around the economic status of the country, which is why we need all of you to make your inputs, not only for yourselves, but for the development of the country, so that you can continue being on business. As we talk about making sure that we connect the unconnected, it's not something that we're going to do over 5 years. We would love to have everybody having access in 5 years. But if we have not created an environment that enables you to say, we're willing to go to those villages, we're willing to go to these areas, government just do A, B, C, D so that we meet you halfway, so that you too can make your profit, it's not going to work. So we really need to try to find each other at all times, even when it's not nice, even when we get to fight. But as we fight, we should not lose focus of that matters. South Africa has to continue to grow its economy for all of us to survive. for me to stay in power as the ANC government, but for your companies not to close. Because if we mess up from the policy side, or if there's loss of policy uncertainty from our side, it also affects you and your growth in the companies. That's why we said it's in our interest that as we walk this journey, we walk together. We're not saying you must follow. We have to work together so that when I see that you're moving a step back, I'm able to say, I don't think that one is going to help us. And you do the same in the interest of our country and the companies that are here to service our people. I didn't tell you, and Dr. Ngaba didn't mention it. I'm also known as Babe Somgosi. And once I start, I can go on right through the day. But there's an important task that has to be undertaken here in this conference, that has made you to gather here. And we're looking forward to listening to your outputs as you'll be deliberating in the 2 days. And as we committed earlier, you are stuck with us. We are in an industry that we're going to force you. It doesn't matter how much time you will try to divorce us if you feel like we're not listening. Because also we can be working together, but if you're not listening to each other, it doesn't help. That's why the issue of language and the use of wording as we communicate is very important. But if we talk past each other, we're not going to achieve anything. So you are stuck with us. We will, of course, we have a team that's going to remain here. We will get feedback of the report of the work that you will be doing. And as we look forward to receiving the first draft of the Presidential Commission report, that will influence what kinds of legislations, regulation, and other things that we must change as government or do away with or introduce. We will be doing that with yourselves in order to make sure that enabling environment that I spoke about earlier is realized. It takes two. If we have to tango, it takes two. So in the areas that you experience challenges, we have already told the CEO that our office is there. And with us avoiding courts if we can. It is costly that we take each other to court all the time. We've got to try to reach out to each other at all times. Actually, I always say it works when we do it from the initial phases, the planning stage. It helps to get the buy-in of all your key stakeholders so that by the time you roll out, everybody's on board. And therefore, we sign agreements like I'll be signing, like I was signing here, and to say this is the support you are pledging to us, and of course, ourselves will be pledging support to yourselves as the industry. Let's get everybody to move at a faster speed. As the Gambut dancer said here, he doesn't do slow things. He does fast things. And the only way for us to go fast is to make sure that we go the fiber route. And of course, I have had 5G is key to that so that we can deliver the fourth industrial revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to tell you that the ANC government loves you so much and we will be your partners in this crime that you will be committing, the positive one. Thank you so much.